Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to our first week in the Independent Woman video series. This is a 4-part video series where I walk you through things that people sat me down at one point in my life and taught me, but I realized that not everyone has someone to sit them down. And so this is kind of that. I want to make knowledge that can improve your life even more accessible so that you have the best chance that you can. This isn't going to be a super in-depth video. This is more of just like a primer or a primer, whichever one is called. Like we're dipping our toes into it. I'm just showing you the breadth. We're not going into the depth. But if you want to go into the depth, oh my gosh, let me know. I'd be more than happy. So today we're going to talk all about financial literacy. Financial literacy is for everyone. And even though this is a video on independent womanhood, no matter how you identify, this information can pertain to you. The thing is that this information is not frequently shared with women, so that is why it is specifically targeted to my fellow women. This is not financial or legal advice. This is more like a big sister sitting down and talking with you through things. Please take what works for you and leave what doesn't. First, we're going to talk about opening up a bank account. It's super important to open up a bank account, whether it is at your local credit union, whether it is at like a major bank, whether it's at a medium-sized one. It's really important that you have your own. This gives you access to things like a debit card, a checking account, a savings account, a credit card if you choose. And these are all financial tools that can help you with, so many things that you'll run into, whether it's getting a car, whether it's getting an apartment, whether it is making necessary purchases. We live in a world right now where it's very difficult to just operate on cash and checks, because in a lot of metropolitan areas especially, there are digital-only interfaces for customers with which to purchase products. Should you choose to have a credit card, it is really helpful over time to increase your credit limit. This isn't something that I was very big on for a long time, but when I learned that raising your credit limit helps your credit score, which helps you with things like getting an apartment, with getting a car, you name it. If you keep your spending on your credit card to about 30% or less and keep paying off your credit card to the best of your ability, especially over the minimum amount, that really helps boost your credit score. And so if you were to have a card where, let's say, your credit limit is $300, 30% of that is going to go by really quickly. Whereas if you have a credit card and your credit limit is like $1,000 compared to the $300, you have a little bit more wiggle room. But the thing is, don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Make sure that you have a plan in place and that you understand what it looks like for you to be able to pay off your credit card with a higher limit. With great power comes great responsibility, so please use this responsibly. Next is, where do you keep your money whenever it is in savings? So I didn't know for a really long time that just a regular savings account does not accrue a lot of money over time with your money just sitting there. Whenever you open up a high yield savings account, it is at a much higher percentage rate each month based on the amount that you have in the account with which to keep building your money without you even doing anything. This is not a sponsored or affiliated video, so I'm going to be careful to not list off organizations that have not paid me to sponsor them. But the thing is, if you you can talk with your bank, you can Google high yield savings account and make sure that it's from a reputable source. Gotta fix that. Make sure it's from a reputable source. But there are various banks that allow you to do either online banking or brick and mortar banking with a high yield savings account so that your savings are better able to grow. Next, I really want to encourage you to invest in yourself by setting up a way to invest. I'm going to look it up after I film this video and as I edit it, I'm gonna put right here what the difference is between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. There we go. There's a lot of great information in, again, this isn't sponsored or affiliated, but I've greatly benefited from and very much believe in the work of Tori Dunlap and her book, Her First 100K or Financial Feminist. She has a podcast as well. So after you set up a Roth IRA, you will then transfer money from your bank account into the investment institution, right? You then have to take that money and pick something to invest it in. If you just have your money sitting there, it's not actually being put to work for you. And these are 3 index funds that are really great to do to get started. And what makes an index fund is it pours into several companies. It's not just one. And so with how the market changes, it can be a little bit of a safer option. Now the thing is, once you put money in this and once you invest your money, don't touch it. Don't touch it, okay? This money will accrue over time by compound interest, and it'll do much more than a high yield savings account will. So if you have a nice lump of change sitting in your regular savings account, maybe consider putting it into a high yield savings account. If you have a hefty amount in your high yield savings account, maybe consider investing it in maybe some index funds, because this will grow your money over time more and more and more. Next, I'd like to encourage you to consider increasing your income with multiple income streams. I've seen a lot of folks in the past try to get more of a handle on their finances by just cutting off all spending altogether. And while that may be useful in the short term, in the long term, it's very difficult to maintain, because then your quality of life feels like it's declining. So increasing your income, I have a few suggestions. There is definitely always the option of getting a traditional job, whatever that looks like in your respective area, your respective country. In addition to, so I'm in the United States, and traditional jobs here are typically like a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 5 or a 9 to 6, or if you're in the healthcare industry, I know it's way different than that. So whatever traditional job means to you, with these additional income streams, please pick and choose what works best for you. I know that not everything will work best for everyone. There's an option to do freelance work, and with freelance work you can either market yourself online, which is what I've done a little bit, hey, and you can also go to reputable websites that help connect you with others who are looking for someone to do freelance work in your specific area. And here are a few. And just feel free to check them out. You don't have to commit to anything now. In addition to freelance work, there's also the option to take on an additional part-time job or part-time jobs. I've seen many people with a traditional job also need to take on a part-time job. And a part of that makes my heart hurt quite a bit, because when on earth do you have time to be a person, you know? So take stock of what time you do have and what your abilities are in terms of how you get to feel like a person. Like, do you feel rested? Do you feel like these additional income streams, these additional part-time jobs are only like soul-sucking? Or do you feel that it can be something that also brings you a sense of joy and accomplishment, and perhaps, even if it's not your favorite, could help you transition into a different lifestyle or a different traditional job, or even starting your own business over time by making the sacrifice to hone in on something that may be not so pleasant in the short term, so that you can have more breathing room in the long term. In terms of building your own business, you don't have to have like a huge brick and mortar store. You can have something digital, you can have something online in today's day and age, which is kind of cool. You can create and sell a product, whether it's a physical product, whether it's a digital product, whether it's food, whether it's art, whether it's clothing, or stationery, or baskets, you know, anything. Whatever you are good at that you would be able to either sell a lot for a small or low rate or sell a few at a very high rate, it could be very beneficial to you to have that sort of income stream at your disposal. Not disposable, at your disposal. You can also, this is something that I do as well, you can teach on the side, you can tutor, you can teach private lessons. If you are interested in the work that I've been doing throughout these videos, if you've been keeping up with me on social media and you're all excited about the idea of becoming an actor as well, please give me a holler. I teach private acting and voice lessons. I also have taught private ballet lessons. Virtual was kind of crazy, and so that started over COVID. If you're someone who you're interested in joining those fields, but you kind of want to start on your own a little bit to get your feet wet or to feel like the ground is beneath you and you feel confident to go into these classes, please give me a holler. I'm now accepting students and would love to have you. So that is something you can do as well. You can teach or tutor in things that you have, in skills that you have. And it doesn't necessarily have to be online or through social media. You could check out your local community groups, your local library even, and see where you might be able to start a club or an affinity group, or where you could teach workshops, maybe at a local community college or a local college, or you could teach master classes. You have a lot more at your disposal than you think. And not even disposal, you have a lot more opportunities in front of you for also building community, because community can help kind of bridge that gap between I don't know where I'm going and here are folks that I know could really benefit from these things. And by connecting with other people, whether you intend to or not, like whether you just happen to find them through maybe non-traditional ways, like I don't know what that would be, but I do kind of know what that would be. But you understand what I'm saying. That's not the point. What the point is that connecting with other people can also be a way for finding out how you can better serve folks and how you can potentially create a source of income stream through providing a good or a service for where there's a need. You can also, this isn't my go-to, but it can be very helpful to clean out untouched spaces in your storage, let's say, and selling off old books, old clothes, old items, or things that you just don't have use for, things that perhaps someone else could. I've sold a lot of books recently just because I've moved so many times, and moving with books is, okay, I love my books so much, and so it was painful for me to come to the realization that it will be easier for myself to let some of that go, but I'm glad I did. And the extra funds that I've been able to make from books that I don't even like read that much anymore, and or could easily access at my local library or on the Libby app or online, etc. It wasn't worth it to keep carrying every book in existence with me. But I support you creating your own library. Gosh, this has really become a video about how much I love the library, hasn't it? Anyway, all right. Next, I do want to encourage you a bit to consider limiting your spending. And what I mean by that is it could be for a finite period of time, just taking a look at all of the subscriptions that you use, that we use. I do this each month. I review my finances and I just see where everything's going. And sometimes I've forgotten that there are subscription services I've signed up for, because maybe it was just like a few dollars, or maybe it was, I don't know, something that I did a free trial of and forgot to cancel whenever I didn't have use for it anymore. Just take a peek at where your money's going, and if there's a subscription service that you maybe don't use as much, could you take a pause from it for a month or a few months and just see how that might be able to support you a bit. Also consider limiting, well, I don't necessarily want to say limiting for this, but I just want to invite you to get curious about spending patterns. So for me, whenever I get kind of anxious, I really want to just get junk food all the time. And that is a clue to me that there's something that can be improved in my life, whether it is addressing the thing that I'm actually anxious about, and or finding alternative ways to kind of work through those feelings instead of just going to something that I'm spending my money on that I don't want to be spending my money on, that isn't really good for me, and it makes me feel good for 5 minutes and then makes me feel horrible for all the minutes after, you know? You get it. And then if there are ways around you that you can use free or low cost alternatives, like the library, again, I really didn't mean for this to be whatever. I love the library and I'm proud of it. But the library has so many resources that we don't even necessarily realize. And they have so many newspapers there and magazines, oftentimes from around the country or from around the world. And those subscriptions themselves can add up quite a bit. So for your consideration. And then my last point is that it's okay to accept help. There are programs in place to help in the event that you need it, and there's no shame in needing help. So for example, in the United States, there's something called SNAP, SNAP/EBT. I don't know what the EBT stands for, to be quite honest, but here it is. Now I know. And this is for like your groceries. It's also called food stamps at times. But whenever I was in grad school, first of all, students are not paid very much. And so that was kind of my first large introduction to SNAP and EBT, and how it can be a really useful service. So if you do need to apply for that, I encourage you to go online or to call your local town hall, even city hall, and just inquire about the SNAP EBT program if it's something that you need and that you qualify for. So we've covered a lot of ground. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I'm so proud of you. Look at how far you've come already. You've gleaned all of this knowledge, and now it's up to you to put things into practice. If all of this is stuff that you already knew and that you already have set in place, great. A reminder is never too bad, I guess. And if any of this is new to you and you're looking for more information, please feel free to give me a holler down in the comments. I'd be happy to try and direct you to more if I can't provide the information for you myself. I would like to invite you to do two things. The first one is I have a mantra for you to consider saying to yourself this week. Maybe put it on a Post-it note and tape it up where you'll see it, or put it in your phone. But the mantra is, I have everything I need. Even if it doesn't always feel like it, just try for the next week saying to yourself, I have everything I need. And then the second thing I'd like to invite you to do is check your bank account. If you don't have a bank account, maybe consider opening one. But sometimes the scariest thing is just checking and seeing where we're at. And the first step is just taking a look at where we're at. So I invite you to check your bank account. All right, for real, I'm so proud of you. And thank you so much for being here and for spending your time with me. As always, I'm rooting for you. We're in this together. You got this. I'll see you next week. Bye.